Hey guys, happy Saturday. So this is going to be a short, quick, and to the point word, short but powerful. But yesterday, I tell you guys, like, first of all, happy Saturday. I hope you guys are doing well. And I pray that this word encourages someone. Everybody's in a different season, of course. So just take every word to God and let Him give you more revelation on how a word applies to your life. Okay. But I yesterday was just throughout the day. I told you guys sometimes I just pick up my Bible and I'm like, God, give me a verse. And I'll turn to a verse and I'll know when he's speaking because he'll nudge at my heartstrings, right? And I'll know, okay, well, this is what I turn to. I may have to read a bit and see what he's talking about and so forth. But a lot of the times I just grab my Bible morning, afternoon, whatever. If I don't have a specific story that I'm trying to get to in the Bible or verse, I just grab my Bible and I'm just like, God, give me a word. Yesterday, all throughout the day, no matter where I turned in my Bible, even today, I kept turning to the very first chapter of every book in the Bible. Okay, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter where I was turning. I would say, God, give me a word, Jeremiah chapter 1. God, give me a word, Habakkuk, or however you pronounce the name. Some people say Habakkuk, some people say Habakkuk. I don't know. First chapter. Okay, number 1. Psalms, number 1. Regardless of where I turn in the Bible yesterday and even today, I was always turning to the first chapter of that book. Okay. And I caught on to it really quickly because that never really happens to me. Like, it's never happened to me, to be honest. Normally, when I grab my Bible and I'm just like, God, give me a verse, it may land at the 23rd chapter of a book or wherever in the middle. Never does the Bible always, regardless of what time of day, and I did it like 7, 8 times yesterday. Every time I said, Lord, give me a verse, it was the first book or the first chapter of a book in the Bible. Every time. And I caught on to it very quickly because I'm like, okay. I'm like, ain't no way, because that's never happened. So I was just, trying to see what it is that God was trying to get me to see. And a little bit after that, I felt in my spirit that he was saying, many of us have just started the first chapter in our book. The first chapter in our book. Okay. Or so not even the first chapter, but it's the beginning of a book, the beginning of a story. There we go. The beginning of a book, the beginning of a story for many of our lives. And a lot of us we feel like we're in the dark. Like, we know what season we're in. We know where God has us. We know, many of us, he's told you, me, to be still, to wait for him to lead. Don't go and try to do your own thing, whatever season you're in. For many of you, and this is going to hit home because God has told you to sit still, but we all have a hard time with sitting still. It just seems unproductive. But a lot of the times God is telling you to sit still and rest, because when he begins what he's doing, it's going to exert energy. You're going to need your energy. You're going to need to be, your cup is going to need to have been refilled throughout this time. So he's saying, sit still, don't move on your own accord, just let me guide. So I believe that many of us are in that season to where relationships, jobs, relocation, marriages, whatever the case may be, your prayer needs to be, God, if I open a door, or if a door opens that's not for me, show me and close that door. That needs to be the prayer for many of us in this season, because Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And he's a trickster. Like, he does it by tricking, opening doors that shouldn't be open, bringing people in your life that shouldn't be there, bringing past history back to the forefront. He does that by tricking. And if you're not aware, you'll think, oh, this has to be from God. But no, remember, Satan comes disguised as light, right? So he comes as closest to God as possible. He will never look like God. He will never be God, but it's his job and his goal to come as closest to looking like it's from God as possible, in order to fool you, in order to take you out of the direction of God saying, go right. Satan wants to take you left. So he's going to come as closest to looking like it's something from God as possible so that you can be confused. But you don't have to be this confused person. God is not rushing you to go through a door to do these things. You have time to sit with God and say, God, is this from you? Give me your peace that surpasses all understanding if this is from you. If it's not, upset my spirit. Like, put me in like a antsy mode. Like, don't give me peace, so to speak. Don't give me peace if it's not for you. However you need to communicate with God, we all talk to him differently, but this is the season where discerning is important. And I'm preaching to myself because I know that God has told me to sit still and be still, right? But I have a hard time doing that sometimes because I like to be productive, right? But a lot of the times being productive is sitting still so that God can do what he needs to do. You've done your part. There's nothing more for you to do but to wait on him. Okay. And somebody needed to hear that. But heavily in my spirit, I felt God speak, and he was just like, this is the beginning of a new book, of a new chapter in many of your lives. Okay. That old chapter, it's closed. It closed after the first quarter. The first quarter ended the last day of March. We're in the second quarter of the year. So for many people, this started a new chapter in your life, a new book in your life, so to speak. The old book is finished. Lesson 1 is done. We're on lesson 2, book 2. This started a brand new chapter, a brand new book, and it's starting at the beginning. And when I opened my Bible this morning, the Lord brought me to Genesis chapter 1, and I got more revelation in my heart on what he was trying to say. A lot of the times when God is creating in your life, right? Creating means to bring something into existence. Okay, to bring something into existence that did not exist before. When you create, you're bringing something into existence that did not exist before. Okay. When God is creating, there's a separation. And for many of you guys, and I'm going to back this up with scripture, but for many of you guys, you're in a new book in your life, a new chapter in your life, whichever it is for you, and God is separating as he's creating. So while you're thinking, oh, am I in isolation again? Like, what's going on? Why do I feel like I'm in the dark? Why do I feel like I can't see anything? You have to go back to Genesis chapter 1 and remember, every time God created in Genesis, when he was creating the world, there was a separation with that creation. And like I said, we're going to read Bible to back up this word. But when God first formed the world, it was void. It was dark. It was formless. It had no form. And that's similar to how many of you feel right now. Like, I can't see anything. It's dark. I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't see anything that looks to be put together. When the Lord God was first creating the world was void, empty, dark, formless. And as he began to create, he separated. And for many of you guys, there's a creation and there's a separation taking place, but you think like you're in the dark. This is bad. No, it's not bad. He's bringing things into existence. And as he's doing that, he's separating. But it's in order to create in your life. Okay, so catch that for who it's for. You're not in the isolation season. This is not a bad thing. He's not trying to pull you away from anything. But as he creates, he separates. As he creates, he separates. Okay? So I'm going to read Genesis 1. I'm going to start at verse 1. In the beginning, God, Elohim, and I'm reading from the Amplified Joyce Meyer Bible. In the beginning, God, Elohim, created by forming from nothing the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and void, or waste and emptiness, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, primeval ocean that covered the unformed earth. The Spirit of God was moving, hovering, brooding over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, pleasing, useful, and he affirmed and sustained it. And God separated the light, distinguishing it from the darkness. As he created it, he separated. Okay, as he's creating in your life, there's separation as well. Okay, And God called the light day, and the dark, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day. And God said, let there be an expanse of the sky in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters below the expanse from the waters above the expanse. And God made the expanse of the sky and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. And it was so, just as he commanded. When he was creating, there was a separation taking place. God called the expanse of the sky heaven in the evening, and there was evening, and there was morning, a second day. Then God said, let the waters below the heavens be gathered into one place of standing, pooling together, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of the waters he called seas. And God saw that this was good, pleasing, useful, and he affirmed and sustained it. God said, let the earth sprout tender vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit according to, limited to, consistent with their kind, whose seed is in them upon the earth. And it was so. The earth sprouted and abundantly produced vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their kind, and trees bearing fruit with the seed in them according to their kind. And God saw that it was good, and he affirmed and sustained it. And there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. Then God said, let there be light bearers, sun, moon, stars, in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be useful for signs, tokens of God's provident care, and for marking seasons, days, and years. And let them be useful as lights in the expanse of the heavens to provide light on earth. And it was so, just as he commanded. God made two great lights, the greater light, the sun, to rule the day, and the lesser light, the moon, to rule the night. He made the galaxies of the stars, that is all amazing wonders in the heavens. God placed them in the expanse of the heavens to provide light upon the earth, to rule over the day and the night, and to separate the light from darkness. And God saw that it was good, and he affirmed and sustained it. I'm going to stop right there. I just read from Genesis 1, verses 1 through 18. God is affirming your life. He's sustaining your life. But as he's creating, he's separating. You're not in the dark. You don't need to move. He's told you to sit still. But as he creates, there's a separation. As he creates, he separates. So that is the word. I pray that this blesses somebody. Short, quick, simple, and to the point. I love you guys, and I hope you have a great Saturday. Bye.